All right, welcome back. We are on my E46 M Sport. We've already removed the tower brace in the trunk so that we can pull the inner panels. We're looking for a coolant leak somewhere around here. Car is idling funny. It's not even to operating temperature yet. Looks like the radiator possibly could be leaking. It's wet right here, look.
That's a little bit.
Well, it's coming out of here. You sure you don't have anything unplugged? You didn't unplug any electrical over there, did you? What's that? Where's it leaking from?
Air?
What's that? Yeah, it looks like the radiator's leaking. So this one's gonna need a radiator. So we're gonna have to pull out the radiator. It looks like the top tank is leaking right in the corner. Have to scan it and see. You were tugging on these wires. Hold this here. Yeah. Yeah, something with, I don't know where the clip is. There's supposed to be a clip lock right here. This just unplugs. There should be a clip here, a metal clip.
I did not touch that.
That's what's killing it right now, is the mass
I
air
only
beam.
touched this and those, which I don't know, what is this thing? What is this?
That's an air temperature sensor. This is just falling off. So the radiator's cracked. So we'll have to try to find a radiator.
Alright.
So we got the wheels prepped because we're going to be changing out the coilovers. This one's got a blowing coilover on this left front. I heard a loud like hose popping noise. I thought it was something to do with power steering line or something of that nature. And turned out it blew a front coil over. So this coilover is blowing, and one of the rear ones, which I think is the right rear, is blowing. So we're going to get this radiator out and get the radiator replaced. Already replaced the upper hose, and the expansion tank is new from the dealer. This one got all new belts, accessory pulleys as well. A few years back, it blew up on the road and I sent it to the dealer. So they did motor mounts and a bunch of stuff, almost $6,000 worth of work to this thing. And then we're gonna look into, there's a clunk in the rear, like diff bushings, or the guibo on the drive shaft is no good. So that's why I haven't been driving my old E46. This is my first new car I ever purchased. So this one just got new taillights as well. I did a video on that. So we're gonna get this thing shut off. As you see, it's idling now. Mass air meter's just, the wires are loose. So I have to find a clip for that as well. And it's got low tire pressure. I did put tire pressure monitors on this car. That's this beeping you're hearing. Both front tires are at 28, which is below the threshold that I like. So still not up to operating temperature. I'm gonna get the windows rolled up on this car. Keeps trying to catch idle. Something to do with the mass air meter. Well, so I'm gonna call the radiator shop, see if I can get a radiator. We'll be back. Never even heard of that company. Linol. So put that in the box. Well, actually just put that in the back seat so it doesn't get damaged. Here's the old one. You can see where it was leaking down this tank. Leaking right there in the corner. So we're going to leave this with them because I don't need the radiator. All right, been running around for parts. So what we're going to do next is, you can see the power steering reservoir has been leaking for a while. And these power steering lines, I went ahead and sprayed them so that I can see there's a quick disconnect tool built into it. Hopefully it still works. We got to disconnect and replace both these lines. One line goes up to the reservoir. The other line goes down to the power steering rack. And then the other line off this goes to the power steering rack. So we're replacing both lines off the power steering rack, so that this thing will stop dripping and ruining the hoses, because that bottom hose is awfully soft now. So we're going to get that under tray disconnected and start replacing out before we put in the radiator, because we already got the radiator out. That's the condenser. We're also going to change out these boots like we did on the other car, because I got to disconnect them to follow these lines back on where they go. So we brought them just in case they're bad. So we're going to start getting some of this stuff replaced out so that we can get this thing serviced. I got brand new struts that got to go in, so we got to get this done. We'll be back. All right, getting all these power steering leaks fixed. As you can see, hoses in dire need. The bottle that's been leaking forever. 3 lines replaced. So the new bottle's on both lines where they were leaking, and then the new line down to the rack and pinion. So power steering's all topped off with all new lines. We're going to work on the cooling system tomorrow, and then the suspension. Right now we got to go take from this power steering leak this cover. We're going to go down and wash it just like we did the other one. We're going to get all the trash picked up now. But that's what I'm up to, trying to get the old E46 all put together and working properly without any leaks. All right, so it's running now. Everything seems like it's okay. Just got to get all this grease off of everything. Go down and pressure wash it, I guess. All new power steering lines, coolant lines. The bottom coolant line has been changed now. Upper hose, lower hose. So that should be the end. We did have the transmission cooler down there leaking. Turned out one of the O-rings was ripped, so got that replaced. We're just running it to make sure everything's staying dry. We're almost halfway on the temperature. Since we don't have the fan clutch on right now, and we don't have the air on, the air turns on the front fan, so I normally kick that on. Still not warm. Top one's warm. Everything needs to be pressure washed now. The power steering lines look dry now. They're not leaking. Looks like we're doing okay. You see, fans going now. Is the bottom hose warm yet? Is it hot? No. Thermostat's still not open fully. It's just warm up here. Gotta wait for that hose to get warm. Hopefully that thermostat doesn't need to be changed, because yeah, the hose is hot. Well, it's creeping down now. Let it cool off. We'll get the fan put back on, the shroud put back on, and then we'll drive it up to pressure wash this side.
Put the air box in right now?
What's that?
I can put the air box in right now?
Yeah, you can put the air, well, yeah, put the air box in. Just set it in here and put the two 10s hand tight, and we'll take it off when we're over there, because we'll have to cover this as well so that we can pressure wash this thing. Car wash. I'm going to pressure wash all this gunk out of this corner, because the frame rail should look like that over there. It's been leaking for a long time. We got to get that stuff cleaned out. So we'll be back at the car wash. All right, here we are. The E46 is all back up and running. Everything under the hood has been maintained. All the rubber and plastic has been conditioned or replaced. All new cooling system, all new power steering system. Got everything up and running. And got to fix that side skirt. My son dropped the jack on it and it busted up the clips on the side skirt, so I'm going to get that stuff replaced. But for the most part, E46, 120,000 miles, and I still have suspension to do, so I got a coilover kit coming. This has got modified suspension on it. It's got a coilover kit, and it's got strut tower braces front and rear in the trunk. So we're gonna get some of that stuff replaced up, but just wanted to show you. Keeping the engine compartment clean, oil free is a must. It's going to extend the life of any automobile. Same thing with RC cars. You condition your plastic and you keep it clean, it's going to last you a lot longer. Same thing with a real car. Car, truck, doesn't matter. You take care of anything, it's going to last you a lifetime. Might cause you some cuts and bruises fighting with it, but that's just a part of wrenching. It happens. Tight. Everything's got clipless connectors, upper hose, lower hose, fan, expansion tank, power steering lines, which you can't see anymore down in there. They were leaking all over this frame rail. Took the air cleaner box off, pressure washed everything, and now my E46 is back to running mint. No warning lights, and it is leak free. No more drips. I have the caps off the wheels because we are getting ready to do the suspension. So these have got locking lug nuts. It's a keyed lug nut down in there, which I keep in the trunk, not for theft, just for convenience. And as you see, no warning lights. $121,403. I've had this car since new, and it's one of those cars that I'll never get rid of. M Sport package, so you notice the bezels on the gauges are silver. It's part of the M Sport package, along with the M steering wheel and all M suspension. So ball joints, control arms, that kind of stuff are beefed up, bigger brakes on it, and it comes with an M Sport front bumper and rear bumper. This front bumper is an M3 front bumper that I put on the four-door sedan, which is the ZHP bumper. As you guys know, just wrecked my ZHP. So I'm here to rip the new Big Rock. Just figured I'd take you guys along and show you what I've been up to. That's why I've been posting a lot of videos, and I haven't done the first run of the Big Rock, but that's all gonna change today. Let's get on to the video. All right, so I wanted to talk about something because YouTube has a lot of bad information when it comes to repairing stuff. And I had my son, as I'm teaching my son how to work on cars, I have him watch and look up certain videos. And yesterday we spent about 9 hours setting up my suspension. On my stanced out E46 M Sport. The coilover kit I had on it, 12 years old, was bad, and it was time to get it replaced. And he came to me when we were installing it and said, "Dad, these coilovers come with camber caster plates, and these bolts were spread out really wide, and they were installed and shipped in a package, and you have to set everything up. A camber caster plate has a top plate and a bottom plate. So in order to get your camber caster right, there is numbers on the side. There's a center mark that tells you 0 and how much camber you want. I usually run about 2 degrees of camber on the front of this car, so I set it up the same, left and right. And when you set it up, inside, if you notice, in that hole, there's other holes. There's another hole over there, and you can move these Allen screws to different holes depending on where you put your camber caster plate." And my son's like, "Dad, it won't fit because one of these Allens was up here. And in order for me to get 2 degrees," he's like, "I watched a video, and you got to cut this out to make it work." And I was like, "What the heck are you talking about?"
You have an E46 and you are getting coilovers. Actually, there's 2 things I should tell you. Obviously, you need to check the offset of your wheel to make sure it's not going to bump into the coilover. But another thing, if you want to actually utilize the camber adjustment, you will have to cut away the shock tower some. Now this is normal, bro. This isn't like a max speeding rods thing. Like, I've seen this is actually pretty damn common with most of these coilovers that have the top hat that has the adjustable camber on it. I have seen this before. The coilovers that I had on the E36 were the same way. And the guy that I got them from, he had to cut the shock tower on his E36. So we might do that one day. I don't know. Depends on how long I end up having this car.
You never, ever cut your coilover buckets. You never cut the buckets to the top of your shock mounting purchase. This lip that's around this whole area really reinforces the top plates, or the top area of the coilover. And if you cut it out, this metal becomes real flimsy. And E46s are already flimsy, and they sell plates that go in here to reinforce them, because when you start to lower them and you start hitting potholes and stuff, you can crack these towers. And that's why I run the tower support brace. I run one front and rear. I don't have the rear one on right now. I do have the plates on, but you definitely want to support your shock towers. So as you see, I got a brace that goes from here to the other side once I get them put back on. And then this bracket really supports the top of your suspension, of your shock buckets. So when he told me that we had to cut it, I was like, well, where did you see that? And he said he watched it on YouTube and showed me a video of it. And the guy so I did record it. I'm going to show you guys a clip of that right now. And the guy recording it said that he watched a video where a lot of guys cut the top of these buckets out to get this exact kit to work on here. I thought it was something that I should address. Never ever cut these buckets at all. You start cutting them, this whole thing's going to start to flex no matter what you're doing. So they have holes on the inside, and they've always had holes on this brand's kit. This is the Max Speeding Rod. It's a cheap coilover kit, but set up right, my last kit lasted me 12 years. So this is their latest version, which had some revisions to it, which is supposed to be better. But you know, I'm not road racing this thing, and I'm not drifting it. I'm street driving this. I want a good ride. These are actually 24-way adjustables, front and rear, and you can adjust them by these little knobs up here. And that'll really dial in your suspension for street, drift, whatever you're trying to do with it. And it'll handle much better on a track and off a track. Most people buying these kits, we're not professional drivers. We're not out racing our street cars every weekend. We're just not professionals. And it's something you know, I thought I would bring some awareness to because of that video that was, I think, about a year old. And that's the thing with young people on the internet and just not knowing what, you know, he probably watched a video and it was a sponsored video. The company had given him the coilover kit to install on his E46 and do a video on it. And I figured, you know what, I'll let you guys know, and maybe, you know, somebody will catch it. I didn't do a whole install video of it. Like I said, it takes a lot to set up coilovers right, a lot of adjustment. The install, they're all over the internet, but I set up pretty much my own alignment. And this car, I have tire pressure sensors that I've mounted up there because I run a stretch tire on this car. So something I suggest everybody get is a tire pressure monitoring system. It's just little caps that go on your Schrader valves. So there we go. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you guys on my next video. Thanks for watching.